Hey everybody, greetings from the waterlogged northeast. We actually have a break. It's not nice out, but we have a break from our rain at the moment. Mother Nature gave us a break here so we could bring you week 7.5 of the progress of our package and nucleus colonies. And also on our nucleus colony, what we're going to do to take care of the Demaree method that we did. We're going to show you, we're going to go in and cut some queen cells out. So we're going to try and get this done before it starts raining again.
Okay, so let's quickly go into our package hive. So 7.5.
Yes.
Last week there was a fair amount of progress upstairs.
Look at that.
And we rearranged, sort of checkerboarded the combs there. And hopefully, oh, they have done. They've got to work on it.
They have.
Look, that's really grown. Now they're fully occupying this entire box with the perhaps exception of this frame. We'll see. We'll just quickly go through it in order to see what is drawn and what's not, so we can just see the progress. But also notice how white it's starting to get. We did have a few good days this week, and during that time they brought in some honey.
They did. They've kind of kicked it into overdrive now on our sunny days that we have.
Okay, so this comb here was entirely foundation before, I believe. Full of food, but fully half comb fully drawn. This side still to go. So as the brood has emerged here, they've now got enough bees in here to entirely fill this box. And just double checking that we don't see queen cells. You see a queen cup there, but no cells. Emerging brood, and the queen back in there relaying, but honey right down to the edge of the pollen. This frame was in here before, full of young brood, eggs right out to there. Nice. Looking great. Same on this side, eggs right out to the right up to the honey. This was purely foundation that we put in the middle.
Look at that, huh?
And I predicted there'd be eggs, and here we have eggs in those frames from here to about there on that side, and eggs from here to about here. So this frame is entirely, well, let's say 2/3 full of eggs, and the other is filling with honey. Lots of honey getting stored on this fat frame.
Certainly, yeah.
And cap brood, really getting it full of honey. They're just starting to cap it now. These are queen cups with nothing else in them. That was drone brood there.
Yep. Good.
And again, looking good. Packing out with honey wherever they haven't got brood. And this was entirely foundation. And we're getting eggs laid in these cells, even though they're only half built. Same on this side. Most of this side is full of eggs. Plenty of resources here. Again, larvae here, packing with honey here. And pollen on this side. And then another frame that was just foundation before.
Look at that, huh?
Drawing it out. No eggs on this side yet. No eggs on this side yet. So what I can actually do is pop it over here, because we know the queen's laying over here. I'm just rearranging things so they can make the maximum use of the space they've created. This will be entirely honey is my guess.
Look at
Which
that.
it is,
Huh?
full of honey.
Just glistening.
Full of honey on that side. This I'm going to push to the outside edge, and this last frame of foundation, just getting started, that's going to get moved into this area here. Get that one built out. That'll be all the combs built out. I'll put it here. This one we'll put back here. Okay, so this is box where in effect 80%, 85% of this upper brood chamber is built. We've gone through the whole upper brood chamber. There's no queen cell, so it's in perfect stage. In fact, it's probably a few days late already getting a honey super on. So we're going to put a honey super on it right away. And again, harping on the remembering that we're only going to use foundation. I have a super with foundation here, only in fact I'm going to be even further behind than foundation. Because what I want to do is get a bit of comb honey drawn here as well. So these frames are just foundation, heavily waxed. I put extra wax on. I've also put a couple of some frames in here, 4 of them, which had comb honey in before. I've cut it out, and I'm going to see if they build it into this empty space. So I've got foundation, comb honey, foundation, comb honey, foundation, comb honey, but it's empty space. So we'll just see what they build. We'll cross our fingers and see what happens.
All right.
So this colony has plenty of room. Close it up. Now
They are doing great, even
now
considering the weather.
We have to tick things off a little more. Tell me this one
Yeah.
didn't grow out good.
Okay.
Okay, so this was our Demaree split hive. You can see they're curing honey in here. Judging by that hive, there's going to be some honey in here. I wonder if they'll have got any comb built in that. But what we're going to find is that these brood chambers, which if I recall correctly had about 10 and 20 pounds of honey in it by my estimate before, we'll see if there's any change on that. So we've got to go through each of these and remove any queen cells. So we may be stirring them up somewhat.
Oh yeah.
So apologies if the bees go after the camera. We'll just pretend they're going after Amy, really.
Yeah, that's normally how it works.
Now, we're not going to be afraid to drive the bees down a bit here. I want them to retreat as much as possible. Makes my life a lot easier. And we're looking now for queen cells and making note of any progress that they're making here as well. So with the Demaree split, you do have to go into the hive and check for queen cells a week afterwards. Nothing happening on this frame, which is pretty much like it was before. Fair amount of honey on here. No queen cells. Yeah, these frames are filling up weight-wise.
Yeah.
This weighs about 3.5, 4 pounds already. Filling up with honey. You can see where it's just filling right up.
Nice.
Here's the first frame of brood. And the brood is emerging, and as opposed to the queen being able to refill here, they're starting to put nectar in the middle. So they've got honey on the outside and they're starting to put nectar inside here. Not as much as I would imagine they might have done. We've got some queen cups, but no eggs to put in them. So we're just destroying those just in case. Another frame of brood. Pleased to see the lack of queen cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to put honey around the bottom edge here now as well as around here. When we get a run of good weather, we should get a good deal of honey in these supers. Now, a lot of their effort will have been gone towards making comb downstairs around the queen because she's got nowhere to lay except for a few frames that we put in.
Look
This
at
is
that,
all drone brood at the bottom. But they're filling that up with honey. No queen cells. We didn't have that many queen cells in this super. The other one had more.
There we go.
Here's the queen cells. We're going to get rid of this right away. And you can notice it's an emergency queen cell. They made it on the edge there. So as predicted, they have made some queen cell, one so far. Because they're so physically separated from the queen. So the bees respond to a lack of queen pheromone because she's physically not that close to the brood. I guess they need to have both queen pheromone and brood pheromone in the same place for them not to decide to make queen cells. Oh, this one's full of honey. So we've got 5 pounds of honey. And this frame is pretty empty too. I'm going to move that more into the middle. Fill that one up. This other one, which is pretty empty. Put that one in the middle too. So that's this super. Queen cells removed. What's it weight feel like? This feels like about 30 to 35 pounds of honey in there.
Nice.
And it now feels well over 40 pounds overall. This was, I believe, the lower brood chamber, where we cut out a lot more brood queen cells. We know the queen isn't down here, so we can be a little more rough with it. Empty comb. Comb filling with honey. No queen cells. Comb of brood. Let's give it a quick shake. No queen cells. All this comb, all this brood up here will become honey super. Even though there's no honey in these frames, which they're already starting to put honey in them. Queen cell here on this side. There's an empty, but worth just crushing them anyway. See a queen cell on this coming up frame. A couple of them. Some over here. Here. Check.
This one.
Yeah. a few drones in the hive. Horrible comb. Push that right out to the edge so that gradually gets removed. Not that it makes any difference, it's all going to be honey soup. So as a routine, if you have a comb that's wonky like that, they built all sorts of drone cells and that sort of thing. As a matter of routine, place that out to the outside edge. That's the first one they're going to fill up with honey entirely. You can take it out as soon as it's full of honey, get them building a new frame in its place. So, we've gone through this, and no more queen cells now. Bees have stayed nice and calm.
They have.
Very obliging of them. A quick look down here, see if they've got anything happening in the honey super. I suspect not. Oh, there's some festooning going on. Now, festooning is when they're drawing comb. So look how bees are hanging together, hanging in a net down there. They're hanging in a daisy chain of bees. They are starting the process of drawing comb here. Let's have a look. So bees are in sufficient numbers here. If we look on this side, well, they're moving away from it. There's clusters of bees down there. They will be starting to build comb. I trust that they will. But so far, not much. And let's have a quick look down the brood chamber, see how much progress they've made down there. Normally we don't need to go way down here, but we're going to because we're doing a video about it.
Yep.
Bees on all the frames. Now, if you recall, the queen was on this frame. We had drawn comb on these two and foundation on all the rest. So I'll take one of the frames of foundation out of the way. Have a quick look. And yeah, look at all that comb they built. So they've been festooning on here and they're building comb, putting a bit of honey on it and that sort of thing, but that's okay, they're going to clear that out. This first drawn comb, which was entirely empty last week. Let's see what they've got in it right now. Put some honey in it because there's some weight. But lots of pollen. Queen cups, but I'm not anticipating them needing queen cells. We've got larvae in the middle, in here, under those bees. They're busy. This is full of pollen, full of very young brood in here. This was the original frame. We'll have the queen on it. Should be a bit more advanced brood on here. If there is, that brood's emerging out. And queen is busy refilling those with larvae, or eggs rather. And they're now at that larval stage. This is developing larvae in the middle here. So the brood nest is starting to grow. This frame was just drawn comb with nothing in it before. Again, full of pollen right now. Fair few eggs. Eggs right out into the outer edges. The bees are repairing the comb on this side. Putting a bit of temporary food storage in here. They've not drawn much comb here yet, but they will. They're in the process of getting ready to do it. There's a lot of bees down here. They're looking to draw comb. So things are developing. Queen's in here, but we didn't spot her, but she's in here. So far so good. I would expect that when we go in here next time, we're going to see some significant comb building going on and more brood in those 3 frames, probably in the 4th and 5th ones. Okay.
All right.
Going back. I would say this one weighs in the 20 to 30 pound range. It's not hugely heavy with honey. We've not accumulated as much honey as I'd like to have done, but they're coming along.
Considering the weather.
I'd say they've increased by 10 or 15 pounds honey-wise. But considering it was only a nuke less than a month ago, 2 months ago, that ain't too bad.
Nope.
So, progress on the Demaree hive. We now don't have an issue of swarming because we've cut out the queen cells up here, and there's no possibility of new queen cells being produced from any eggs because no egg in there is now less than 6 or 7 days old, so they would not successfully raise a queen from up here. So this hive will not swarm. The queen's starting to expand the brood chamber down here, and there's a lot of bees looking at drawing comb. There's resources here in the hive. We're going to have another couple of days of rain, then it looks like we've got halfway decent forecast coming up. So I expect that in a week's time we will see even more progress. And in our package hive, we've got our first honey super on.
That's right.
So this is coming along well. So just coming to the 7th week, 7.5 weeks, and this hive was absolutely ready for that honey super. We could not have waited any longer, otherwise we would have been swarmed. So they've grown very nicely. This one, there's not a huge difference, huge a difference between them now. They're significant, but it's making good progress.
All right.
There we go.
All right. See y'all later.